Okay, welcome back to lesson 2 of our tower defense game. In the first lesson, we did a bunch of things. We actually just set up the main class, actually the main method, and the tower game constructor method, and they're right here. Every Java program starts in the main method. And we're going to add some code in here. In this particular lesson, we're also going to examine this a little bit more closely. We created a root container. Every JGame game has a root container, or every game that uses the JGame library must have exactly one root container. And so we've called that guy root. It's an instance of groot container, and I set the root container by taking my instance and putting it right in here. The other thing we're doing is that we created a level 1 view. I added the word view here just because I felt I think we'll have lots of different views, and I'll keep that name in there. And so this is Tower Game Level 1 View, and notice the instance of that is called TG1 or TGL1V. And so that, let's see, I don't want to change, that keeps popping up. So in any case, I've got this guy all set up. The problem is this, I've got this underline in red because I have not yet created this particular class. So let's do that right now. If I just hover over the word with the red line, it gives me a couple of quick fixes. It says create the class, and so I say yes, create that. The one thing I want to pay attention to is that it gives me the source folder, it gives me the package, but what I want to do is I want to browse for the class that I want to extend. And in this case, I'm going to do gcontainer. Now, don't get these confused. We did groot container, and I said that every game has exactly one root container, so this was groot container. But now this guy, when I had to create Tower Game Level 1 View, I come over here and I see that it extends not groot container, but gcontainer. The other thing is I need to, if I hit Control space, I need to set up a default constructor. This is the class, but the constructor, the default constructor, is just going to give me the name, and it is TG Level 1 View. And so that guy's good to go. So now I can hit Control S to save, Control Alt F to format that, and I'm ready to add some code in here. There's only a few things I need to do here. One of them, though, is I need to create a background play area. So I'm going to do that too. Before I do that, right here in the constructor, I'm going to set the size. If I don't set the size when I try to run this, the size default will be 0, 0, and the program will throw an exception. And so now I'm going to give it a size. My background for each of the elements or each of the views in the game is going to be 900 by 700. That's 900 width and 700 height. In addition to that, I'm going to create my play area, and so to do this I need to actually create a variable for the play area, and so I'm going to do that right here. I'm going to say private, and my play area is going to be level 1 play area, and this guy is going to be called L1PA equals new, and it's going to be a new L1 play area, so I'll put that right here, and it does not need to take in any parameters, so I'll leave it just like that. Now I'm getting a red underline here because that guy doesn't exist, and I'll make him by the same way. I simply say create class, hover over it, it gives me that option. This guy will also extend groot container, so I start typing in or gcontainer rather, not groot container, and start typing that in, and notice gcontainer comes up. I say finish, and now I hit Control space, and I can say set the default constructor. Now this guy is ready to go, and again I'm going to save this, and I'm going to format. And so let's come back here now and take a look at what I can do with this. Now that I've got L1PA, so level 1 play area, I can set this up by, first of all, setting the anchor point. The anchor point is in ActionScript, that would be the registration point. It's, let's say, the point around which the object will rotate. It's the point the coordinates, when I set the coordinates, I'm referring to this point. So I'm going to set it to the upper left. So I'm going to say PA level 1, and I'll say set anchor. Now again, if I hit Control Space, I should get... I don't. That's interesting. Set anchor, and I'm going to set anchor top left. And I'll just say parentheses. Now I'm getting a red X. Probably I don't have that. Let's see if that works. No. Okay, we'll come back to that. So this guy now, L1PA. Oh, I've got it spelled. I've just got something else down here. So L1PA. Let's see if that takes care of it. Yes, it does. So it's important to name my variables the same way. So, you know what? I think I like it better the other way. This is level 1 play area, but I'm going to call this play area level 1. And I think I'll do the same thing right here, so we'll be consistent that way. Okay, that looks good. So that's my top left anchor. And now I want to be able to set location. So again, I'm going to say set location. And I can just hit set location, and I'll set the location at 100 and 0, and I'll talk about why once I set it, and we'll be able to see visually what's going on. Make sure I have my semicolon, and the last thing I need to do to get this set up is I simply need to add it, and since I am inside the level 1 view, I am adding an instance of my play area to what I'm inside right now, and I'm inside the game view, the level 1 game view specifically. So I'll say again PAL1, and now that should be good to go. Now there's still a couple of problems. If I go back to my tower game view, I don't have anything in my main method, and that's a problem. So I need to go ahead and set that up right away before I actually run the program. And so I need to set up what's called an image cache. So the way William has set this up is he's utilized this concept of a cache where the cache is going to do two things. It's going to find the path to where all my image resources and sound resources are going to be, and it's going to somehow facilitate that it's going to take a particular image out only once. In other words, it's going to take it from the hard drive and load it into RAM just one time. And so it's going to make my game more efficient. But this image cache, I'll say create. So I need to say image cache. And I'm going to say, let's see, dot create. And I need to say what class I'm doing. So this is going to be my tower game dot class. And beyond that, I need to simply put a comma here, and I'm going to put a path to where my image cache is, or where my resources are. So specifically, notice over here, I've got tower game is my outmost folder. So I'll say tower game, and then I need to say inside tower game I have tower game RSC for resources, and my images are in a folder called TG images. And that is the place where all of my images are going to reside for this program. So that guy is good to go right now. So now it's getting another red X. It says there's a syntax error. It doesn't know there's no semicolon. That's silly. Okay. Okay, so now that's good to go. I'm going to do the same thing for the sound manager, even though we're not going to put sounds in for a little while, but just to set this up, if I say sound manager, and I'm going to do the same thing, I'll go ahead and say create, and I have to identify the class, and then once I do that, I have to set it to the right path, and I've got these guys in tower game sounds. Okay, so now that guy's good to go. So those two guys are set up, so I know where my images are going to be placed for this particular project and where my sounds are going to be placed for this particular project as well. Okay, Sound Manager is throwing a problem here, so import Sound Manager. If I say Control-Shift-O, it should take that away. So now I notice that I'm importing. I've got my groot container, Game, Image Cache, and Sound Manager. It's imported all of those from JGame, and so if I get that red X, I can just do Control-Shift-O, and Eclipse automatically takes care of my imports for me, which is very handy and very nice. Okay, so now this guy is getting very, very close. The only thing I want to do now is I want to say that I want to create an instance of Tower Game. So I'm going to say Tower Game. So you do this in the constructor. So my class is Tower Game. The instance is just going to be tj equals new Tower Game. And parentheses when I instantiate. And then finally, I'm going to say tg start game. And as far as I know, all start game is going to do is take the title of the game and put it in the window. But let's see what happens if I take this guy now. So let's see, I don't have any red X's anywhere. I've got my 3 classes. If I hit Control F11, I run it, and there it is. Notice it says Tower Game here. I've got my black background. I do not yet have an image, and so that's something that we're going to do in the next level. I'm going to go ahead and have an image associated with the play area. So the play area will have its own background image. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do in this video, in lesson 2, is I'm going to come into play area and I'm going to put an image in the background. Right now, if I were to run this program and hit Control F11, notice I get Tower Game. This is the window in which my game is going to take place, but I don't have an image back there, and so I'm going to put an image over on this edge, and this is going to be the play area. The bottom 100 pixels, this whole strip, is going to be a menu area. The side over here is going to be information area, or vice versa. But these 2 areas are going to be kind of around the left and bottom border, and the play area is going to exist up here. So I'm going to go ahead at the point 0, 0. I'm going to move my picture over 100 units on the x-axis, and this, on the 0, or on the y-axis, it'll stay at 0, which will be right on the top edge of the frame. In any case, at this point I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to add some things that will need to do this. First of all, I'm going to set the size of this. The size of the play area is going to be 100 pixels less in each dimension because of those menu area and info area. So it's going to be, instead of 900 by 700, it will be 800 by 600 pixels, 800 width and 600 height. The next thing I'm going to do is I have to add something that's kind of complicated, but I need to get a buffered image, so I'll say buffered image, and I'll call this BG for background, and that's going to equal a new buffered image, but I have to tell it where to get this. And so it's going to be in the image cache, which I set up in the first, in the main method. So image cache, and then I need to tell it what class this is for. So this is going to be for class, and the class that it's going to be for is my Tower Game. So it's going to say Tower Game, and it has class actually is going to return whatever class I attach that to. So this will return the Tower Game class. And then I'm going to use the keyword get, and what I want to get is I would like to get the resource that I'm going to use, which is just the file name. Now if we look back here, this is the path to where the images are, and all I have to do now, since this is the actual folder, is I need to tack in the name of the file that I'm going to use. And so if I look in here, I've got one called Play Area Level 1. So I'm going to take that and put that in my file name right here. So this is going to be Play Area Level 1 .png. Now I just grabbed this from the internet. I just typed in, what did I type in? Game background, and this is what came up. And so this actually worked fine. Buffered image needs to be capital B. Make sure that I have all my imports, and make sure it's saved. And buffered image BG. That all looks good. Image cache for class and For some reason, I've got a red X here, so let's see. I've got a syntax error, and I don't see what it is. Maybe I don't have my semicolon at the end, which I don't. So that's good. I'll hit Control-Shift-F. It'll drop that down for me so I can see the whole line of code. This is a little bit messy, but this is just a way of getting this image. And so to get that, I have to reach into the image cache, and I have to reach into that for the particular class. The way that I find the class is I say for class, and then I just give the name of the class. And I use the get method, and it gets the name of the file that I want. The pathway to that, again, was located in the main method. Okay, so now, because I want to set the background doesn't take a buffered image. It's going to take a G-sprite. So I need to say G-sprite, and I need to set this up as, let's say, GS is going to be a G-sprite, and G-sprite is going to be equal to a new G-sprite. And that does not take in, that does take in a parameter, and the parameter that's going to take in is BG. So BG is going to take in a buffered image, just a generic image, but this is going to transform it into a sprite, so it will have access to all the methods and resources in the sprite class. Again, if I hit Control-Shift-O, that takes care of my imports for me. Notice GSprite showed up here. And then finally, I can use the words set background. Not set background color, excuse me, but it's just set background. And I'm going to set background sprite. So that's this guy. And the sprite that I'm going to put in here, of course, is GS. Okay, that's good. That's all I need to do. So now this guy should be good to go. Again, I'm going to hit Control S. I'm going to hit Control Shift O. And now if I run my program, I'm going to find out that I have some problems. It doesn't know what plat area. So I've spelled it wrong. So let's see. Play area level 1. That looks better. Let's try this again. And now it might come up. There it is. So I just grabbed this guy from the internet, but notice this is over 100 and it's up here at 00. I'm going to put in the next video, I'll put in another area here, another area here, and that's it for tonight. Bye-bye.